There are 7.5 billion living souls on planet Earth. How could we all possibly be relevant? We are all relevant because within each of us is a custom-built, unique story. We are all significant, we do matter, and I'm going to prove it one amazing story at a time. My home province of Ontario makes up 0.2% of the global population, and we're going to start there. One day, I will call on you. There's links in the show notes highlighting some of my guest Darren Smith's accomplishments, so check them out. He makes note of hoping he did not have to audition with the song Highwire after a long day of traveling. You know, that song is difficult for any seasoned vocalist, and Darren shows just what a talent he really is, so be sure to check that one out. He and I played a couple of songs together at the opening, and the interview was sandwiched in between them. So here we go. Please enjoy. Welcome to Treblecock Studio Grand Opening. Today we're going to record a live audience episode of the podcast called It Happened in Ontario. Interview-based podcast with the goal of proving that we all have a special story within us that should be told. My guest today hails from Ajax, Ontario, and has managed to script quite the story of his own. He's a little shy, but let's see if we can get him to open up and share a little with us today. Darren James Smith is a drummer from internationally famous melodic rock band Harum Scarum. Anyone here heard of Harum Scarum?
Liars!
Good work. Many of their hit songs aired on Degrassi Junior High. Is it true that you had a stint playing guitar with Helix?
I did. I played guitar for them for 2 years.
So we got a drummer, got a guitar player. And now Darren is the vocalist for Jakey Lee's powerhouse group, Red Dragon Cartel. Everyone knows who Jakey Lee is, right? Very good. He was famously fired over the telephone by Sharon Osbourne after giving Ozzy 2 hugely successful albums, Bark at the Moon and The Ultimate Sin. So let's get started. If we are to find out how a rambunctious kid from Ontario becomes the Canadian version of Dave Grohl. Right?
Wow.
Starts as a drummer, now he's a front man. So we need to start at the beginning. So tell us, Darren, where were you born, who was there, and how did that go?
My mom was there. I was there. I was born in England. I moved to Ajax in 1969, just in time to see you guys land on the moon. And, I just grew up in Ajax, and I hung out with other musicians, and playing in everybody's basement. And I used to dirt bike, and I met Harry Hess on the dirt bike tracks, which is now the Ajax GO station. We used to ride around that area. And my bike caught fire and blew up, and I was burned, and he took me to the hospital, a side saddle on his Yamaha 80. And I said, "Oh man, I owe you, kid," And he said, "Can you teach me how to play drums?" So he started out as a drummer too. And then we just became friends, and next thing you know, I'm in a band with him called Blind Vengeance, signed to Attic Records. I think I was probably 18 by that time. I did some punk records with a band called Durango 95 out of Oshawa too. And that's how I got the gig with Blind Vengeance, and then we went on from there, and then I parted ways and did other things. And then I went to college, Fanshawe Recording Institute. And Harry was not only in my course, he was in my classes every single day. So that's kind of how the Scarum thing started. I played all the guitar on the demos in his apartment that eventually became Harum Scarum.
Really?
And that's kind of how it started. And then I stayed in London for a while, and then he called me up and says, "Hey, you want to come back to Ajax and get a record deal?" And I'm like, I was there the next day. And I've been there with that band since 1988. It's been a while.
And I would have met you probably in like 1989 or 90 just before you guys got signed.
Because, we used to hang with Bobby and Rich Rufo, the troublemaker.
Used to come and do sound for midnight just for fun.
Man. Yeah. I still do sound. I love doing sound. To me, it's like painting, You get the band's good. The band's shit. It's not like painting at all. It's throwing up or something. But I love doing all of it. From recording to mixing to playing.
So growing up, how did music become a focus for you?
I'd never thought of it that way. I didn't think it was anything other than this is all I wanted to do. I never once in my life ever said I want to be a professional musician. Not once that even occurred to me. It just sort of happened very early in my life.
Yeah. So when's the last time you had a day job?
I've never had a day job.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it ain't going to happen.
No, and it doesn't mean this isn't work. It's a lot of work.
Well, it is. I mean, I live for the stage. I mean, I like recording and stuff, but I love playing live. Like I played Donington, which is in England, where like the Monster Rock Festival started, to like 80,000 people. When you try that, I mean, sex isn't even better. It's incredible. It's just such a rush, and I just live to play live and just creating, basically. You know, it doesn't really matter what it is. You know.
So, how did it feel? We were talking earlier. You said that you got signed by Warner with Harum Scarum at the Rock Connection in Oshawa.
Yeah.
And how did that feel, getting your first record deal?
I've always had record deals, man. I've never not had one. So I just went from one to the next to the next to the next. Yeah. Warner was really cool because they're a major, but with a major label comes a whole lot of responsibility, and you can get dropped if you're not selling enough units and stuff. You're just a product at that point.
Yeah.
Know? That's why independent record labels are sort of why the industry doesn't exist anymore.
That's right. The industry has changed so much.
Yeah, Harum Scarum's made 15 studio albums since 1980. Well, since 91, right? 91, yeah.
So then there became a time with Harum Scarum where you guys kind of all decided to take a break, I guess. And so between then and Red Dragon Cartel, what were you doing?
I watched a lot of TV. I mean, well, I went out with Helix for a couple of years, toured across Canada with Lee Aaron, and did that shtick for a while, and then that got boring. But I do different things, you know. I got to change up instruments and change up my position to keep me interested, because really short attention span. You know, so if I'm going to start playing drums again because I haven't played in a year. Yeah. I was just asked by Billy Sheehan to play drums for his band, The Fell, next week in Grand Band. I'm like, I don't even know if I can play anymore. I had to turn him down. I go, dude, I don't know. I don't think like a drummer anymore. So now I decided I better start playing drums again. Plus, I need the cardio.
Once a drummer, always a drummer, though.
Believe it or not, when I was a kid, I could not play and just hop right on them. But you get into your mid-50s, it's like, where are my keys? You know, the muscles, it's all different. You really have to think about it. But take me a couple of weeks of shredding in a room, you know, before it all comes back. Before the groove comes back.
Yeah. Well, you don't have that much time.
I got time.
So there's a little story that comes with you actually joining Red Dragon Cartel. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. I was at La McQuaid one day, and Kevin Simpson, who's the manager there, says, hey, Jakey Lee is looking for a singer. And I'm like, what's he going to want with a Canadian boy? I don't see the point. Yeah. He goes, you should send him something. I'm like, all right. So I was writing an album with Mladen Alexander, who I can't remember the name of his band. Good songwriter. Anyway, we had a band called Bastard, and we all took the names like I'm Ugly Bastard, and there was Sexy Bastard. But the song was really, really cool, and it was called L.A. Whore.
Yeah. I know the song. It's actually a good song.
And so
good video.
So we shot a video at Dockville. I don't know if you know where that is. That's 35-115. It's that whole western town, and we shot it there, and it's a real rockin' tune. So I sent them that, and I sent 2 songs that I wrote with Slash, because I was also auditioning for Velvet Revolver at that time, but that never happened because Slash didn't put Velvet Revolver back together again.
Right.
So there was these 2 songs, and he had a bunch of people right to these tracks that his band had played.
Yeah.
And I sent one of those in. Turns out Kevin Churko, who owns a studio in Vegas, was sitting there going through the tapes with the management and that, and Jake, and he goes, I know this song, and he was the producer on that demo, and he said, this is the best song that we heard come back, and then they put 2 and 2 together in the Bastard song, and Jake goes, I want that guy. This is what he told me after I asked him, and that's pretty much it. Next thing you know, I'm on a plane landing in Vegas. I've never really auditioned for anyone. I just sort of got the gig because, well, I don't know, the guy can do it, right? So I'm just landing. I'm going, I don't know anybody in Vegas. I was all wigged out. And I just was going, oh, I'm so tired. I was in Houston for like 4 hours stopover. I go, oh, I just hope they don't want to do High Wire first. And what happened? I walk in. Oh, I walk into the audition, and there's everybody in rock there, from Ron Keel to the guys from Angel. Like all these rock stars, and just maitre d's walking around with trays of drinks. I'm like, this is an audition, and why is there a party going on?
Yeah.
That's what I had to audition in front of all my peers, and pulled it off.
Well, you did, yeah. It's good. So when I called you to ask if you'd come and do this, I interrupted you. You're watching a documentary about Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
And their relationship with the police department there. And they got a lot of issues going on. So, but you're from Oshawa, and there's a lot of that starting to happen.
You can
in
drink the
Oshawa
water,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. You can drink the water. But so what do you think about, growing up in that area and seeing, a plant that employed 23,000 people about to close?
Well, that's going to have a downward trickle effect that's going to affect the total economy of Oshawa.
Are you seeing it
We're going to
now?
end up probably like Flint, Michigan, but hopefully I'll be dead by then. I don't want to see it go downhill, but I mean, even Ajax, man. Have you been at Ajax in the last little while? It ain't the place I grew up in.
No, I know. Yeah.
It's really changed. Too many people and not enough space for them.
Hey guys, just a quick call to action break. If you're a podcast connoisseur like myself, you know that a series will have sponsors and advertisers to help offset the costs of producing your favorite show. Myself, I prefer not to bother you with third-party services, but keep it between us. If you find value in it happening in Ontario, maybe you could buy me a Jamesons. Jamesons. I'll cover the overhead, and you get the tab. I'm providing a link to Patreon in the show notes, and it's a really simple process, and the series becomes ours, partner. Okay, so we're just wrapping up. Let's get back to the good stuff.
There is no music industry, I'm telling you right now. Like, my kid, my oldest daughter, she wanted to go to Metalworks, and it's like $20,000. I'm like, there's no industry. I'm telling you, your dad's in 2 international recording bands. Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
And then who wants to piss away 20 grand anyway? But she loves music. I go, do it just for you and do it independently. I mean, my retirement really will be with all the fans I've gotten over the years from performing. I'll just release things and sell, like I'll be the record company, the record printer. Like, you know what I mean? That's how you make money. You got to have some kind of a, following, and then you can sell 100,000 records on the internet, and keep all of the money as opposed to the $1.50 the record label might give you per copy, right? So that's why the independent thing started taking over, but there are no major labels.
Yeah, and we all know what Spotify and Apple Music. There's no money coming back from that.
And even if there is, they can put an algorithm in there to fudge the numbers. Like, you're never going to get paid what you're worth.
No.
But what are you going to do? I mean, change career at this point in my life?
Yeah, I know.
I could.
Well, somebody has to keep the arts going, though, right?
Well, somebody, but it doesn't have to be me. I'll always play, but it keeps you young. It keeps me immature is what it does.
Thank you.
See, it's easy. Anyone can do it.
That's it. Thanks very much for coming, everybody.
I got lots of time in the day. I can come down and shoot the shit with you and cause some trouble on the internet. You and me used to get so much trouble together.
Oh, I know.
We had fun.
It Happened in Ontario is recorded at Treblecock Studio in downtown Peterborough. For more information, go to treblecock.ca. Thanks as always to my dear friend Paul Thompson for the music.
I've blessed others, been blessed in return.